So hello, everyone. Calling the meeting to order, the special meeting, September 4th, 2020, 12:03 p.m. Julie, could we have the roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Ha,
Yes.
Mr. Peterson,
Here.
Ms. Goodman, Ms. Goodman, are you still there? You're muted. I'm gonna skip over, oh, there she is. Karen, are you here?
No, I'm gonna take care of fruit trees. I got a garden to take care of. What are you gonna do with them?
I unmuted her, but I don't think she's actually at her computer right now, so I will mute her.
Okay,
I think we're picking up background noise. That's her, but I don't
I
think.
thought it was her that unmuted, so I was waiting for her.
Nope, I did that.
Right. Mr. Gentili,
Here.
Mr. Suda,
Here.
Mr. Dance,
Here.
Mr. Bergstrom. Well, Mark, I can see Mark. Oh, there's Karen. Ms. Goodman, are you here?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Well, there she is. Hello, Karen. Okay, we've got enough
And
people.
Mark is now unmuted.
Okay. Mr. Bergstrom, you're here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent.
Right.
Everybody's here. We can move forward with the meeting now. As I said a minute ago, this is a special meeting that we're getting together to have Barry sign some agreements for the airport POS testing grant agreement. I'm going to turn the meeting over to Barry to comment a few things on the grant. And
Okay.
the grant has to be signed off on by September 10th. So go ahead, Barry.
So this, just to quickly go through the background of this, the state has put together funds. It's a joint project between Eagle and MDOT Aeronautics to basically fund testing for the PFAS contaminant at airports in the state of Michigan this year. They're under an aggressive time frame to try to get all of the grants wrapped up by the end of or grants issued by the end of the fiscal year, which is why the need for this special meeting, because they need the grants signed to them by the 10th so they can be processed by the end of the month fiscal year processing. I had updated the board in the past about our application for this grant and the fact that we were indicated that we were awarded it. This is now the paperwork coming through that actually is documenting the grant. If you read through the large document, it also includes the entire proposal and plan from the contractor, Perina Newhoff, and then its subcontractors on the project for what is actually being done. That is the result of back and forth between Eagle, MDOT, Perina Newhoff, and myself being involved in some conversations over the last probably 6 weeks or so on what those details are. The amount is slightly more than $200,000, and it's a project where it will have a extended time period because they're basically doing some testing wells, and then there's monitoring of those wells to detect if there is PFAS contamination, where it is and where it might be moving.
Barry, I have a question on that. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mark, go ahead.
Oh, what I'm concerned, I think we've had discussions about this several years ago, and there wasn't the funding, I think, at that point in time. And now, obviously, they've got the funding, and maybe there's more pressure from the other states and things like this. But at this point in time, it looks like the funding is there, and this testing can go forward. And Barry, I don't know, maybe you are going to talk about this, but if they're going to find this stuff, I'm sure, and they're going to be determining how much it's flowing and where it's flowing. So that usually means that they're going to mitigate it. And if they're going to mitigate it, that's where some big bucks, because something has to either collect it or redirect it or whatever. So I read through this thing, and it doesn't say anything about, okay, so you find out what happens. If you cap it, then you just kind of continue to drain it as it comes in. But I think that's one of those concerns that we might have. And then who pays that if it has to be pumped out on a regular basis? And then where's the holding tank for that? I mean, it didn't go into any of that stuff. So that's a little bit of my concerns that
Okay.
I wanted to raise.
I'll try to answer those questions. You are correct. This is just about discovery. And at this point, there is no plan, no funding source identified for really what that next step will be. The guidance that we're getting from the state is if this is a one-time thing, so if we don't take advantage of this funding, we're a known potential site. So we will just be lumped in with the group. When this progresses down its natural course, because we're a known site where the product has been used, we will be subject to all of those things. We just will be spending the $200,000 testing out of our own pocket instead of using right now state money. That doesn't really answer your questions, because there is no answer as to how this gets cleaned up. No one knows that. So I share your concerns, but really we don't have much choice, because if we choose not to do this, it doesn't mean we get away and we kind of skirt under the radar, because we're an airport, we're on Eagle's radar, and Eagle will be driving this probably with a less nice attitude if we basically are going down a path where we're not cooperating with the avenues they're providing.
I agree with what you're saying, Barry, and that's true. And we probably need to be taking advantage of this opportunity. I just see the things down the road when they start trying to clean this up too.
Yep.
And they're wonderful at passing the buck on that. So I think we at least need to be thinking about that a tad bit. I'm not saying that we shouldn't do it. I'm just saying that,
Yep.
Okay,
And
yeah.
not that this necessarily, is an answer, but this week, or I guess actually it probably was last week, the state has actually filed a lawsuit against the manufacturers of these products.
Oh.
And I think that's how they're hoping to get the funding to do cleanup, is push the buck back to the manufacturers. I don't think that necessarily will provide enough, even if, assuming that lawsuit becomes successful, which, probably is questionable. The product was used for so many years in so many different locations that the potential total cleanup dwarfs the, financial capabilities of companies, even like a 3M, which is one of the defendants in that lawsuit. So,
Is this a de-icer, Barry? Is that what this is, or was it used for?
no, it was firefighting foam.
Oh, okay, firefighting foam.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And our exposure here is limited to the fact that once a year, we're required to basically do calibration testing on our fire truck, where we have to dispense the foam. So, it's very limited, our use over the 15 years or so that we've been, we have had our fire truck, but, some is still has been exposed into the environment.
Well, that's good news. It's not been used every week or anything like this, so.
Correct.
Mark, it was a good read on what you're saying there. I agree with what Barry's saying completely. And what you found, there's no concern or in this report as to what's going to happen if you find it. My guess is that they're going to find very little because of what Barry said. It's been very low use here over the last 10, 15 years. And this study right here is actually a two-phase part here. And I'm going to say because of the low rate of usage here, I've seen cases where what they'll do is just simply monitor the plume of water and the chemicals in the ground over another 5 to 10 years to see how quickly they're dissipating. And if it's dissipating at a reasonable rate, that's all they're going to do is monitor without trying to, dig it up and process it some way or another.
Yeah, that's good news, but again, we're certainly pretty close to the river too, so.
Right, right. Well, this kind of goes back to a super fun situation that's in Manistee County already. That's basically what Eagle has done. They're just monitoring the thing with monitoring wells.
And Mark, you mentioned we're close to the river, but actually, from my perspective, the bigger risk is the fact that we have a city water well located in the middle of our property.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely a concern too. Yeah.
And from what I'm reading the report, they've been testing once in a while for FOS in the water, and it's been negative so far, correct, Barry?
Yes, that is my understanding.
Oh, that's great.
Right. So this is just a precaution, and it's something that we should take advantage of and see where we go.
Mhm. Yeah, it makes sense. Is there going to be, continued funding for that then? Well, we don't know that, do we? If there will be. Okay, so we sign up for this and they start testing and then they do monitoring. That's really kind of up in the air. Unless is there something the state says no, we'll continue to monitor and they'll do all that. Is it all in the application for that or not really?
Well, there's a phase 2. They're doing a phase 1 initially, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
And that just is putting a couple monitoring wells down there. Then based on what they do with phase 1 will dictate whether they go further to a phase 2.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I read on all this, the funding here is good for 18 months. Is that right, Barry?
I believe so, yes.
Right. And after that, we should have expended this money and cleaned up all the bills. And if there's something bigger out there, then there's going to have to be more funding someplace down the road to take care of the bigger problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, this is an opportunity. At least it is some funds to do something that we probably would have had to do at some point in time anyway.
Correct. Now, in my mind anyway, the FOS stories we're hearing stem from that Air Force base, when it was at Oscoda or someplace up in the other side of the state, the northern part. And I think in that place, the Air Force did an extensive amount of training, firefighting training.
Yes.
That's why they got contamination in the wells and so on. They used probably, I don't know, thousands of pounds more than what would ever be used here or has been used here. And that's where all this is stemming from.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm sure that site's a real problem.
It is a problem, and they don't know what to do with it for final correction of the problem.
Well, I think it is an opportunity at this point.
Any further comments from anyone? Okay, well then, the reason we're here, I'd like to go ahead and ask for a proposal to allow Barry to go ahead and electronically sign off on this grant request and get moving with the state on this. Do I hear a proposal for such a item?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay,
Was that you, Mr. Gentili?
Yes.
Okay.
so Julie, can we have a roll call on that?
Yes. Mr. Suda,
Yes.
Mr. Bergstrom,
Yes.
Mr. Ha,
Yes.
Ms. Goodman,
Yes.
Mr. Peterson. Mr. Peterson?
You're muted.
I think he's saying yes, but we need to hear it, don't we?
I think the head shake was
Sufficient?
Efficient.
Okay. Mr. Gentili,
Yes.
Mr. Dantz.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Barry, that should take care of what you need, correct?
yes. That is all I need today. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no.
Barry,
Yes.
Barry? This is Karen. Are you going to be out at your office all day today, or
Hey, yes, I'm here all day today.
I need a DDA signature for a check? So
Okay.
I'll come out a couple hours.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Okay, well, if there's no further business to contend with, I will adjourn the meeting.
Okay, have a good day.
Thank you for everyone showing up.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye.